competitive one as well.
And it's time to present some more awards. The F1 Tunnel Boats Heat 5. Let's head to the award stage.
Of Heat 5 in the F1 Prop Tour, Graham Trucking Cup here at Seafair. To present the awards, here's Rob Graham from Graham Trucking. Rob?
On behalf of Graham Trucking, I'd like to congratulate Tim Siebold for a great race, and that's all I got.
Congratulations, Tim. Number 16, killing it here in Heat 5.
Well, they call it the Albert Lee Appliance Seafair Cup for a reason, and there sits the reason. It's Albert Lee, and he is not only the sponsor for the boat race this weekend, he is for the next few years. Congratulations.
Correct.
And thank you on behalf of Seafair for Albert Lee Appliance being involved for how many more years?
3 more years, 2016 to 2018, so looking forward to it.
That's a big commitment. We're talking about a local family, local
Yes.
business, local boy.
Correct,
Tell us what
absolutely.
goes into deciding to make a commitment like that.
You know, first, the thing we always start with is get down to how did we get here? And the bottom line is you know, my grandfather started back in 1939, supporting the community, and so it's time, you know, for us it was giving back to the community, helping out, because with our loyal base of customers, they've been just very, very supportive, so it makes it very easy. You know, it's just support the group. It's all good.
We saw you at the parade, as we do every year, and here, of course, at the boat races. What's your favorite part of Seafair?
You know, everything. You know, they're so diverse. I mean, I love the parade as far as how there were so many more groups involved. I thought that was great. I thought it's perfect. And what is Seafair about? Bringing the communities together, everyone be able to support each other and have a good time, and you know, basically at the end of the day, say thank you.
Now, you mentioned your grandfather. It seems
Right.
like everybody who's out here has a multi-generational memory.
Right.
Can you tell us about what all of this means for you as the boy and now the man?
You know, I tell you, there's times where I say, I wish he was still alive to where he could be here to see this, because it's something where he says, you work hard, you do the right thing, treat people right, you know, the sky's the limit. You know, it's just what you set as your goals where you get into it. And there's a lot of goals that I set, you know, through the years, and it's like, okay, well, that's one done, let's go to the next one. But it's never been about getting bigger. It's just trying to do the best thing, represent the best, and everything takes care of itself. So with that, you know, with all our support, you know, we're the #1 independent dealer in the state of Washington, and you know, we're just very, very blessed.
Well, with the name Albert Lee on the Seafair trophy, it means a lot to all of us and to everybody out there. Albert, thank you for all you do.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Now, talking about history, it is time for the answer to today's Seafair trivia question presented by Bartell Drugs. We asked what sparked the idea for a Seafair festival, and the answer is the 100th anniversary of Seattle's founding. See, in the early 1950s, Mayor William Devon asked a group of city leaders to commemorate the city's founding by the Denny Party that landed at Alki Point November 13th, 1851. And that is your Seafair trivia answer, presented by Bartell Drugs, proud to support the local business community with an ever-growing line of quality local products and 64 convenient locations.
I remember doing the breaking news story about the landing there at Denny in 1851.
You've held up well, Steve.
Thank you so much. Speaking of which, we've got lots of Seafair news happening as well, and news other than Seafair, so let's check in with John Nicely and Lindsay Sheldon at the KIRO 7 studios. Guys?
All right, Steve, Monique, great work out there. Want to get to some action outside of what's going on Lake Washington right now.
And that is the action on the fire lines across the state with these dry conditions.
Yeah, in the South Sound, firefighters expect a surge in activity this afternoon at the Sunrise Fire near Puyallup. Crews are trying to get 100% containment. When it flared yesterday, there were concerns it could threaten Emerald Ridge High School and some 7,600 people who live nearby.
Well, in Olympic National Park, fire bosses say that the Paradise wildfire spiked dramatically in this weekend's heat. The rare early season fire began in late May with a lightning strike and has been burning in rugged, mostly inaccessible terrain since then. The entire Olympic Peninsula is in the midst of its driest year since 1895.
And police on the Indian Ocean island of Reunion are looking into whether new debris that washed ashore today could be from the missing Malaysian flight. A new piece of a wing believed to be from that same jet was found last week. It's now being examined in France. The Malaysia Airlines Boeing 777 disappeared in March last year with 239 people on board. Canadian Prime Minister Stephen Harper, on the right there, dissolved Parliament today, triggering an October 19th election. He and his Conservative Party will be seeking a 4th term after almost a decade in power.
And tonight at 5, KIRO 7 follows the money, tracking down $318,000 in missing taxpayer funds.
A KIRO 7 investigation shows how the state's big mistake allowed a teenager to gain access to $318,000 in taxpayer money.
I'll redeem.
Signing over $100,000 to himself.
It's land of the free, but it doesn't mean that we get free money.
Now officials are scrambling to get to the bottom of it.
How did the application get approved by the Department of Revenue without that required letter?
We don't know.
And get your money back.
All right, I want to check in with meteorologist Kelly Franson.
Yeah.
It's been a toasty weekend out there on Lake Washington. Any relief in sight?
You know, we're actually a little cooler today than we were yesterday. Still warm, yes. It's still well above average. But that cloud cover, it's high and it's thin, but it has been doing a good job of at least filtering the sun. Not blocking it out, but filtering it. And as I said, keeping us a little cooler than yesterday. You can see that cloud cover on the KIRO 7 pinpoint storm tracker. You can also see some rain trying to work up through the Cascades. Earlier, we had a few showers on the radar over Seattle, evaporated before they hit the ground, but hopefully we're at least getting a few drops down into the mountains. As we take a look at temperatures, 84 in Seattle, not bad compared to yesterday's 92, but as we take a closer look, microcast level, yeah, Boeing Field has jumped up to 87, Renton holding on to 83. SeaTac reporting calm conditions right now. We have winds from the northwest of Boeing Field and at Renton, 5 miles an hour. So for the finals, we'll say 87 out on Lake Washington. And yes, those winds from the northwest, generally around 5, could see some gusts up to around 10. And hey, if people are jumping in the water, mid-70s, so not a bad day at all out on Lake Washington.
All right, thanks, Kelly. Certainly shaping up very nice for the last and final championship race.
It's looking great out there. Now let's go back to Seafair Sunday on Lake Washington with Monique Ming-Lavin and Steve Vrabel. Back to you guys.
All right, thanks so much, Lindsay and John. You guys are busy. We'll see you again at 5.
And we are as well. We have championship racing ahead of us. F1 tunnel boats will be running for all the marbles, as they say. The final in the Graham Trucking Seafair Cup when Seafair Sunday at Lake Washington continues live right here on KIRO 7.
Your official dealer of Seafair on KIRO 7.
Beacon Plumbing is all about the community, from the hydroplanes
and Miss Beacon Plumbing wins the
to helping feed the community and employing the community. From everyone at Beacon Plumbing, thank you, Seattle.
Hey, wait. Stop freaking. Call Beacon.
While some look the world over for the right car, there is one dealer in the Northwest with the absolute best deals and an inventory so large it can be seen from space.
We order the largest inventory so our customers have the best selection.
And our low prices and great service have kept us #1.
Right now, you can get a brand new all-wheel drive Genesis starting at $32,975. Call or visit us today at HyundaiofKirkland.com.
Seafair is a Seattle tradition, still growing after 66 years. At Bartell Drugs, we understand the value of local traditions. When Seafair began in 1950, we had already been delivering great customer service in Seattle for 60 years. We were still innovating in 72 when Seafair launched the Milk Carton Derby. 30 years later, Seafair added a half marathon, and we had expanded to 50 convenient neighborhood locations. Now, with over 60 locations and 125 years of service, Bartell Drugs is still Seattle's locally owned, family-operated drugstore.
Good morning.
Ooh, Erica, if you use that card for that coffee, you're gonna overdraft.
Over what?
Ooh.
Bank without overdraft fees when you switch to a KeyBank hassle-free account and get $100. Get $300 for premium checking. Additional transaction requirements must be met.
Call the plumber.
Oh, stop freaking. I'll call Beacon.
Beacons is the company you can rely on. Once you call them, you'll never, ever call anyone else.
Next time you have a plumbing problem, don't start freaking. Call Beacon Plumbing.
The final of the Graham Trucking Seafair Cup is presented by Ford of Kirkland, your official dealer of Seafair on KIRO 7, and is presented for Seafair by Graham Trucking.
And so the boats are in the water and we are set to go. Championship racing, F1 tunnel boats. It's been a great weekend, and here again for the final time today is Wally Shaver.
Well, we can't wait for it. If you ever wanted to script a season the way it should end, you get your top 2 boats out there. They're only a couple of points apart heading into this championship, and it's for all the marbles there, Chip.
But the guy you're looking at right there, Chris Fairchild, he could decide who the national champion it is. It's not going to be him, but he's very competitive. He could get in Rinker's way and Seabold's way. So this is, as you said, for all the marbles.
And it's good to see the 59 boat back on the pond. He's a guy, Tyler Welch, just a young 24-year-old out of Wayzata, Minnesota. In his 3rd year of racing in these Formula Ones, but he blew up that engine yesterday. You could see right through that block. It was so bad, but they've had a good job over the course of the weekend here to get that thing put back together and ready for the race today. I don't suspect that Tyler is going to be very competitive. He'll be starting in the 10th spot, the last spot in the field, but nonetheless, he's got a good future ahead of him.
You know, Wally, you pointed out a guy from Minnesota. That wouldn't be because you're the voice of the Golden Gophers hockey program, would it?
Go Gophers.
Go Gophers.
And here's Terry Rinker. This is a guy who is the 4-time defending North American champion in the F1 Formula One boats. It's his title to try to grab back away from Tim Seabold as he comes in a few points back of him right now. These heat races that we've been watching all weekend were 1 point separating from 1st to 2nd to 3rd and so on down the line. It's a 5-point separation for this championship match here. So in order for Terry Rinker to defend his title, he has to win today.
Does he have to win or just be in front of Tim Seabold?
Be ahead of Tim Seabold, but again, you talked about the Fairchild lad. Chris Fairchild's a veteran racer. He's a 2-time inductee into the Hall of Champions, and he's been very consistent. He's been very fast, as you pointed out. If he gets in between these 2 guys like we saw in that last heat race, that's going to affect Rinker.
You know, we saw some heated words between some unlimited drivers. What's the relationship like between Rinker and Seabold? Are they buds or are they fierce?
They love each other.
Really?
Everybody gets along.
No.
Knock on wood.
But they've been going toe-to-toe for a lot of years.
They have, and I think over time, you know, it's so many years that they've been together and racing against one another, and their families have been doing that for a couple of decades as well. So you build a companionship, you build a camaraderie, but still, both of these guys are veterans and they want to win.
And, you know, you race all year, you don't take any one heat all that serious, but then you look back at your year and go, gosh, if I would have won that heat there, I wouldn't be in this situation of racing in the final heat to get the championship. But they're all lined up, Wally. What's going to happen first?
Well, from what I heard earlier, they were going to do a parade lap, but that does not appear to be the case right now. They may be doing that afterwards just to wave to the couple of 100,000 people around this race course. But it looks like they're lined up and ready to go.
So tell me what's going on here. We see, well, they change shots, but you see the guy with a pole, and then you see a guy holding onto the back of the engine. When does the guy with the pole let go, and how does he lets go far before they start the race? Correct?
Yeah, they have to, because the way these boats work, there's no neutral, there's no reverse, there's just one gear. It's F for fast. So what happens is they'll turn on the ignition switch or the power switch to get the fuel pump going with about 30 seconds before the start. Then they'll hit the start switch. That starts the motor. Then they hit the gas pedal. Unlike a throttle in a regular boat where you run it by hand, these are foot controlled. So they slam that, and then they're shooting off of this dock. They'll go from 0 to 100 miles an hour in 4 seconds flat. And at that point, what you need to do with these guys, they have to steer them. So they're pointing the boat out towards the buoys of where the commitment buoy is. That's why we have a guy holding it up at the top up here, and also a holder back down here, making sure that everything stays straight.
And what we've seen the last 2 days is the starts everything. It seems if Rinker gets to the buoy before Seabold, he wins. If Seabold gets there before Rinker, he wins. So it looks to me like the championship is going to come down to who gets off the dock the best.
Who gets off the dock, and as we've seen, you can break things. We've seen Fairchild break a prop off, which slowed him considerably down. There's Terry Rinker, who is going to be sitting in the well, we've got him listed here in the number 3 starting spot.
But he looks like he's on the pole.
So they've obviously changed things around. So on the far right, the yellow boat is Terry Rinker, your defending champion. Right next to him is a current points leader, Tim Seabold. And then on the next boat, that looks like the 30 of Rob Rinker. And then comes Chris Fairchild in that white number 62 spot, starting in the 4th slot.
And he's the guy that I think is going to have a say into who's national champion.
And I think he's been one of the fastest boats all weekend long,
Yes.
consistently fast.
Yeah. And again, like the Unlimiteds, you got to be aggressive, but you can't make mistakes. The starter's got to hit the first time. You've just got to get all the marbles lined up to make it all happen. I saw the official hold up his hand, one finger. Is that 1 minute or?
That should be the 1 minute countdown, making sure that all the drivers are set. You saw the 21 boat, that was Jose Mandana. He is the president of the Formula One Association. He's in the blue boat starting in the number 5 slot. And he's been consistently getting better and better. Next to him is that yellow and white boat. That's number 95. That's Mark Welch. It's a father-son team. We've got some good families going on in here.
So I'm going to put a gun to your head. Seabold or Rinker? What do you think?
Seabold.
Seabold? I'll take Rinker.
All right. You're on.
$100,000 between Chip and Wally here. And again, that 16 NGK spark plug boat, that's a Seattle-based boat. That's run by the Jacobson family, who've been in the marina business here since I've been a kid.
Well, they've still got the canopy lids up, so we're not on the 1 minute yet. These guys would have those down by now, so they're waiting for some official acknowledgments around the race course to make sure everything is set. Rescue boats in the right positions, people up on the flag tower making sure they're all set as well.
And the water's perfect, Wally. There's really virtually no wind whatsoever.
These guys love these types of situations. Apparently there's a roller going through the race course, so they want that to get out of here first. That was a problem, as we have explained a couple of times already this weekend, Chip, for Tim Seabold in our very first heat of this weekend, where a roller came across. He went up the top of the wave, and then as he was turning, that right sponson dug in and just barrel rolled the boat over. Fortunately, that's been the only incident of the weekend. He was absolutely fine on that, and that was quite a relief to see.
We're within 1 minute, and we've had only one accident, which was that 16 boat rollover. So we're getting very close. And there you are, the two champion contenders standing or sitting in the boat right next to each other. This is going to be good.
Two of the best teams in the North American F1 circuit. There's a field of 10 boats. They'll all shoot off of here at the same time.
All Mercury outputs, correct?
2.5 Mercuries. They put out 375 horsepower, and they'll reach top end speeds on this race course of 120 miles an hour. They'll be making left and right hand turns on this 6-10 course. Flag is down, and they're off.
They both got great starts.
Rinker on the left, Seabold on the right. As they head down the front straightaway, it's a drag race.
Oh my gosh, this is going to be good.
Everybody has to keep their lanes until the commitment buoy, which they have hit. The official race start, however, has not happened until they come around turns 3 and 4 and down the front straightaway right in front of us. Seabold coming out of number 4 with the lead right now.
And all weekend long, whoever got to the start line first had the race. So we're going to see if Rinker can reel him in. And in third place, just like we thought,
Chris Fairchild.
White boat of Chris Fairchild.
Absolutely. Through the heat. Tough turns of left and then right. That's a bigger challenge in most races where you see all they do is making left-hand turns.
And this is a little bit longer heat. The heats we've had previous to this were 8 laps. I believe this is a 12 lap.
12 laps. You don't want to win it right off the bat. But Tim Seabold looking very good right now, getting that boat up on plane. Only the last foot of the boat is actually touching the water. And you can just see how close the top 3 are. But look how level he's keeping that boat. That's the ideal racing situation for him right now.
Looks like Fairchild is putting a lot of pressure on Rinker, but Tim Seabold has it all his way right now. It doesn't look like Rinker can put any pressure on him.
They floor that boat coming into the straightaways. Trim it down just a couple of taps on the controls that they have mounted on the steering wheel. Into the turns they go, trim it back up so they get that boat up on plane. And around that right-hand turn for Tim Seabold as he goes down now into turns 1 and 2.
And Terry Rinker is going to have to dig deep. There's Terry Rinker right there in the yellow Amsoil boat. He's going to have to take some chances. I don't know, Wally. It looks like he may have gained a boat length or maybe 2 boat lengths on Tim.
And unfortunately, Chris Fairchild fell off the pace going through turns 1 and 2 there, so he's a distant 3rd place right now. And followed up by the number 21 boat of Jose Mendana, sitting in 4th. And the number 95 of Mark Welch, otherwise out of Minnesota, sitting in 5th.
So if I'm Terry Rinker, do I get the boat up in the air a little more than I normally do and throw everything I've got? Because if you get more of the boat out of the water, the faster you're going to go.
Yeah, and you pretty well have to. You see, he's crossing the wake as well, so he's trying to figure out which is the best course. Again, going to the outside right now. Watch him. He's the second boat back in behind right here.
You know, and Tim's radio guy is telling him where to put his wake every time, so Rinker has to cross it. Every time Rinker has to cross a wake, it costs you time.
It does, absolutely. There's just a little bit more drag. That prop might come out totally out of the water just a bit where it's not grabbing the water. Even though once they do get up on plane, as you see right now, when we get a straight-on shot, you can actually see half the prop out of the water on these boats.
And these are 4-blade propellers, correct? As opposed to the unlimited hydroplanes that have 3-blade propellers.
They're running 4-blade props, and even in some race courses, they'll run a 5-blade prop. Expensive props, too. These are not your store off-the-shelf types of things that we would use on our fishing boat or our pleasure ski boats. These are highly sophisticated, in a mold, very fine-tuned, not only by the people who make them, but then the teams themselves will just file them down just a little bit. No two props are the same.
Looks like Terry Rinker's been trying all kinds of different lines. He's gone inside, he's gone outside. Yeah. Just went over the wake again, and you can see when you're over the wake, the boat got a little upset there, and that cost you speed. So Tim Seabold, who you see right there, he's just going to try to put that wake in front of him as many times as he possibly can.
An additional challenge now beginning to creep up on Tim Seabold, as he's been very fast, but he's got the slower boat. The rebuilt motor of Tyler Welch is in front of him in the gray, green, and yellow number 59 ride.
So that being going by those lap boats, that could give Terry Rinker a chance to catch up, right, if he doesn't get by there cleanly.
Absolutely, because as you pointed out about the wakes, Chip, this is something now that Tim Seabold is having to contend with.
And Terry has made up some ground. I'd say he's made up 3 or 4 boat lengths with Tim Seabold having to deal with lap traffic. And there's more lap traffic right in front of Tim Seabold now. So Terry Rinker's got to use this opportunity to